Alright, so in the last video we talked about Sonic Adventure 2. Specifically, we talked about the hero stages and ranked them from worst to best. Well, this is the second part to that, and as you can guess, we're gonna be talking about the dark stages this time. I really remember as a kid not playing the dark stages as much as the hero stages, so I kind of had this idea in my head that they were all gonna just kind of be bad. But I played through them as I got the gameplay footage for this video, and I gotta say that I did enjoy myself quite a bit. So without any further ado, let's get started with the E tier, which consists of all the stages that I do not like playing. Let me ask you a question. Do you like having fun when you play video games? Because if you do, don't play Mad Space. Mad Space truly lives up to its name because it will drive you mad. This stage is the perfect example of what not to do in a treasure hunting stage. First of all, the stage is way too big. It is huge. I think it might be the biggest stage in the entire game. It makes it so unbelievably frustrating to go through the entire stage with only one tracker. It is so big. You can go minutes without even getting a single hit on your scanner. Minutes, man. Like, I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 minutes of not getting a single hit. And that might not sound a lot on paper when I say it to you, but you can play an entire speed stage level in that amount of time. And that's just 1/3 of the stage. It is way too long. If you get unlucky and you get pieces that are scattered on the outer rim on those platforms, you're just never gonna finish the stage, man. You might as well just restart. There's so many other stages you can do and spend your time more wisely than playing this freaking stage. There's only 2 entries in E tier, but the top of E tier is Lost Colony. Now, this stage is kind of just like Eternal Engine from Tales. It's slightly better though. This time there's no annoying airlocks, so it makes it a little bit more enjoyable, but at the same time it's equally as forgettable as Eternal Engine. A trend that I do see in the Eggman stages is that there's a lot more enemies in the stages, so I appreciate that. But even with that, I don't ever find myself wanting to play the stage. It's kind of just a boring level, and there's nothing really special to talk about it. So it's at the top of E tier because it doesn't make me angry, at least. So it's got that going for it. So moving on will be the D tier, and those are going to be all the stages that I wouldn't say are bad, but I wouldn't play them over any other stage. Alright, so starting off the D tier list is Sand Ocean. The music and atmosphere are actually pretty good in this stage, but this one's a little variable when it comes to ranking. So if you fall in the sand, it's instant death. So that's not innately a problem, but if you don't have the jet boots, which you don't have them in the beginning of the game, it makes waiting for those platforms so tedious, so monotonous. It gets kind of boring. But when you do have the jet boots, this stage goes by much quicker. You get to skip certain sections where you'd normally have to wait, so that's a plus. But even with all that, this stage isn't going to be higher than bottom of D tier. There's not too many enemies in this stage. Mostly bombs is what you're going to be locking onto. Bombs themselves are not the issue. It's just that when you chain together bombs with enemies, it doesn't feel as satisfying. The worst part about the stage is definitely the camera angles. Some sections of the game, that camera just hates you straight up. Like, it does not want you to win. But in general, this stage, again, not getting higher than bottom of D tier. Moving on is Route 280. This is a better version of Route 101 in my opinion. It's got a higher skill gap where you go flying off the road if you're not careful, so it adds some depth by challenge. Unfortunately, this stage suffers from the same things as Route 101. It's kind of boring. Even with the challenge, it still is, and the clock doesn't add pretty much anything to the stage. As long as you're moving forward, you should have no problem clearing the stage with the timer. The timer will pretty much never get to a low point as long as you're going forward. There are some cool exploits you can do where you could save your boost and then boost off a ramp to, I guess, go faster. I actually don't even know if there's any benefit to boosting off a ramp. I swear, when I was a kid, I used to try boosting off a ramp and it would still send me in the hole. So I've just learned to just avoid the ramps and just go on the road. So it's just an unnecessary risk. Like, the timer's not going to go anywhere. If you actually needed to, go fast and the timer is actually pretty strict, then that'd be a reason to do it, but there really is no reason. It's just an unnecessary risk again. So yeah, Route 280, not bad, but I would not say that this is good either. Alright, next in D tier is Final Chase. So Final Chase is pretty much the epitome of what not to do in a speed stage. In the hero stage video, I talked a lot about how I feel like speed stages are at their best when they're constantly moving you forward. So this stage took that concept and pretty much did the exact opposite. At no point in this speed stage are you speeding. There's constant platforming with almost no resolve. The resolve being the speed. And the controls actually feel pretty slippery for once. There's this new gravity gimmick where basically there's cylinders that are usually vertical or horizontal, but they have an attraction to them, and Shadow runs up them and spins around them. But sometimes the gravity can break and glitch and you'll just go flying down to earth. So I always skip this speed stage because it's just a chore to play to me. The atmosphere is good. The music I'm not really a fan of. It doesn't really stick out to me. The only reason why it ranked higher than the others is because it's a speed stage. Like, come on, let's be real. A bad speed stage is always going to be better than a bad mech stage or a bad treasure hunt stage to me. But man, this level is just completely skippable to me. And especially this one freaking part. Just get up. Up. Please. Get on the spring. Get on the spring, man. You're so close. Please. Just... Next is Egg Quarters. So Egg Quarters is a decently sized stage, I'd say. I think it's a little bit smaller than its hero stage counterpart, which is Death Chamber. Again, I believe the single tracker works best in this stage, and for whatever reason I can find the keys a lot quicker than I can in Death Chamber. I think it's because the stage actually is smaller. I'm not too sure about that, but it definitely feels shorter if it's not, or feels smaller if it's not. The max amount of time you'll take on this stage is like 7-8 minutes. That's like really pushing it too. Yeah, this stage would definitely have ranked higher, but we all know the reason why it didn't. It's because of this guy. That guy right there. Yeah, we don't like that guy in my house. This guy pissed me off when I was a kid. And I went back, and he still pisses me the hell off. Like, why is he even here? I'm just trying to get my key piece, and this man keeps blasting me with his lasers. Don't you have something better to do? Like, I don't know. You can't kill this guy either. If you could kill him, then it'd be no problem. But he just wanders around, being annoying. I definitely think that this stage is smaller because... otherwise, how the hell would he be everywhere that I am? Every single time! I swear. This suffers a lot because of this beetle guy. Anyway, Egg Quarters, not too good. Let's move on here because I don't want to talk about that guy anymore. Alright, moving on will be the C tier, which will consist of all the stages that I think are good the way they are, but they don't really push any envelopes or really impress me in any sort of way. But I can still find some enjoyment out of it. Alright, so starting off the C tier is Cosmic Wall. Now, Cosmic Wall is actually a pretty solid stage in my opinion. If Final Chase got the gravity wrong, this one gets it right. The way it works is that since we're in space, the force of gravity decreases, so the hover jet becomes like a rocket booster. So basically, you can use this rocket booster or hover booster to carry yourself up to great heights. And it's actually really fun to do that while simultaneously destroying enemies. And speaking of enemies, there is a crap ton of enemies in this stage. I'm talking like you can get a chain of 7 or more like every 15 seconds, every 10 seconds, if that. You can get some nasty chains on here, and you can get up to like 13s, and it's so satisfying seeing that perfect word and that perfect score appear on top of the board multiple times. This all sounds great because I love when mech stages have a bunch of enemy combos. The thing is, this stage drops the ball in that sweet spot timing. It does not make it. This stage will probably take you like 8.5 minutes, which is just too long. It overstays its welcome, and halfway through you're like, alright, I'm kind of feeling a little bit bored here and kind of just going through the motions now, which is unfortunate because if this stage was halved, this could be easily bottom of B tier. There's also this weird section at the end where you just spam the attack button. It's not really engaging, doesn't really add much to it. For what it is, it's still a pretty solid stage. I actually enjoy it. Now, Weapons Bed fills the checklist for what makes a good mech stage, in my opinion. It's got heavy combo chains, it's got a bunch of enemies you can chain together, and it does not feel too long. I think you can complete the stage in about 4.5, maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, for some reason I feel in this stage the enemy placement was really engaging. I feel like a lot of the enemies were actually firing back at me. Well, this is ironic to say because I'm gonna completely shit on what I'm about to just say right now in the next thing I'm gonna say. But the enemies that do move, I should specify, The enemies that do move actually shoot back at you or actually try to hit you in some sort of way. For some reason, it jumped out to me the most in the stage. Of course, like I said, the ones that are moving implies that there are some that do not. And there are a lot of enemies that don't move. You can get a good chain of like 13 of them. You can destroy them and they still count as points, which is kind of satisfying. Obviously, it's not as satisfying as destroying actual robots that are trying to attack you. I still find some enjoyment out of it, and I still like seeing that perfect score appear. But it does feel like a little cheap that I'm getting this score, and you know, they're just like sitting ducks. So in that department, I would say that, you know, it's a little less satisfying. It's a great stage. I have no complaints about it. Atmosphere is great. You know, I love that Metal Harbor-esque look. That metal with the orange hues against that blue, that deep blue ocean. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really gotta say. It's a good stage. Moving on is Sky Rail. Now, I seriously debated putting this one before Weapons Bed because they're both around the same level for me. For one, the stage is super short. I'm talking like 2.5 minutes max to complete the stage. It pushes you forward like a speed stage should, but I find myself not so fond of the gimmicks that appear in the stage. First of all, the rails. I always miss them because the jumps and the angle that the camera is at, it makes you feel like you're gonna land on the rails and then you just fall off to your death. And it's really, really annoying when it happens because you have to restart the whole stage again. Second gimmick is the spring fans that you bounce on to gain altitude. You could just be bouncing on them, mind your own business, and then the game just decides not to work properly. And especially happens when you're at the peak of the fan's altitude, right? You're supposed to homing attack off of it. Sometimes you don't get there, and sometimes you misjudge the timing, and you'll just homing attack right off the stage, and you gotta restart because of that. Makes it feel like it's not your fault. If you just take your time, you'll be fine. So it's not that big of a deal, but it kind of weighs it down a little bit. But it's a speed stage, so that's why it's gonna get higher than Weapons Bed. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Iron Gate is cool, man. I just don't know what else to say or how else to describe it. It's just cool. Like, Eggman breaking into a max level security prison is just cool to me. I love when the PA system is on and it's shouting like, you know, he's got through this level, like, please, you gotta shut down. Like, it's just cool. It adds so much more to the stage because of that small little detail. The only thing I do wish is that the enemies get harder as you get deeper and deeper into the prison. I really wish that was the case. Yeah, that would have been really cool. That would have been like the icing on the cake. That might have actually landed it in A tier, I'm not gonna lie. There are a lot of enemies to chain. You can get a really good combo going. Definitely way less than Weapons Bed and way less than Cosmic Wall, but enemy chains aren't everything. It's got great atmosphere, good music, again, hearing the PA system, and the last set piece was actually really cool where all the walls shut on you, and then you gotta break the missile, and the missile shoots through all of them, and you get to the goal. That'll always be in my mind as a first impression of the game. But yeah, I actually genuinely like the stage. Alright, now we're getting into the B tier. Yeah, these stages have great level design, and I find myself always replaying them. So let's get into it. Alright. Now we've reached like a threshold. I feel like now the stages jump like dramatically in quality. Alright, starting off the B tier is Dry Lagoon. Now to me this is a better version of Wild Canyon. I talked about Wild Canyon in the hero stage video and I really liked the stage, but my main concern was it was just too small to actually really enjoy. But this Dry Lagoon, this stage, satisfies that need. So at the start of the stage, you open up into a massive area, and you have to save the turtle from the two giant robots. I love that, by the way, and that's just so cute. It adds so much charm to the stage. And you're already in this giant area, trying to search for the emeralds. But when you free the turtle, it actually gives you access to another area. And that other area is kind of like the entirety of Wild Canyon. So there's two big areas you can explore. Going back and forth between the two is pretty satisfying, especially when you're looking on one level or one area and you don't get a hit. You go on the turtle and then you emerge and then you hear the emerald sign. It's beautiful. I love it. It's so satisfying. It pads out the stage. I think you can get a good like 2 to 5 minutes, which is the sweet spot. It's the perfect sweet spot for Sonic stages. The music. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think Rouge might have the best themes in the entire game. I'm not even lying. I think Sonic and Rouge are pretty neck and neck with themes. It's so chill, man. Yo, this ambiance in this stage is so chill. It's a freaking oasis in a desert next to some jazz. It's like a precursor to lo-fi. It is so chill. Yeah, I think it's solid the way it is. Alright, next is White Jungle. So for some reason as a kid I didn't really like this stage. I don't know, it just didn't stick out to me as much. It still doesn't per se, but when I replayed it and actually tried to appreciate it for what it's worth, I actually did find myself enjoying it quite a lot. The ambiance and the music carry this stage. I love the music. I love the way that the beat sounds like it's a jungle, right? It sounds like an ambiance of some sort. And speaking of which, the only complaint that I have is that it's raining in this jungle. I wish there was just some ambient like noise where you can hear the rain, but that would be so cool. Oh, that would make it so much more chill. Just give it those vibes that I'm looking for. So the timer in this stage means absolutely nothing. I think they give you 7 or 8 minutes. I don't know which one it is, but you're not gonna need any of that time. Like, you'll get this stage done in like 4 minutes, no problem. But yeah, it's a really solid stage the way it is. I thoroughly enjoy this stage. All right, topping off the B tier is Radical Highway. Probably a surprise to no one. So Radical Highway is the first stage you play as Shadow, and it leaves quite the impression. So the stage is super quick. It requires a lot of engagement actually. So a lot of the Shadow stages don't really require too much engagement like the Sonic stages do, where you gotta sort of like react quick enough to things. In general, the Shadow stages don't include that as much as the Sonic stages do. But this one is the exception. So you're always gonna be constantly engaged, whether you're doing tricks off of a ramp, whether you're trying to flip off of a pole, light dash, whatever it may be. You're always going to be doing something is what I'm trying to say. The only reason why it's not A tier is because I feel like it doesn't go beyond itself, if that makes sense. Like for example, in City Escape, the truck at the end was completely unnecessary, but they did it and it's now like the most iconic stage in Sonic's history. And for me, it didn't really do anything so spectacular where I'd say, wow, this is like A tier, absolutely. So I think it deserves its B tier. As long as it's at the top of B tier, I think that's pretty fair. It's good the way it is, don't get me wrong. Alright, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Anyway, so there's only gonna be one stage for the A tier, and it's the only dark stage that I feel like really deserves it. And I thought about just giving the A tier to Radical Highway as well, but I felt like they're not at the same level. And I know I may disappoint someone at the end because of this. It might be a hot take. If I were to just put Radical Highway with it, it wouldn't be honest with you or myself. So I gotta keep this one separate. This one is just on a different class. And that one, my favorite treasure hunting stage in the entire game.
We only have 30 minutes to pull this mission off.
No.
There's been an unexpected delay. Set the timer for 15 minutes.
Wait.
5 minutes should be plenty.
Wait.
Alright. I don't even want to hear it. I don't care what anyone says. I love this stage. And it's funny because I did not think I would, considering as a child, I hated this stage. But like I said in the intro, my opinion's changed. This stage to me is the perfect treasure hunting stage. This stage is the perfect size, about 3 levels high, and easily glidable to maximize your search area. The atmosphere isn't super nice, I understand that, but the aesthetics carry it because you really do feel like you're trapped in a giant max security storage unit or prison cell block or whatever the hell it is, honestly. Now let me get into why I hated this stage as a kid. For one, the timer. My idiot little child brain could simply not work that fast. And it gave me so much anxiety when the timer was at 20 seconds and I hadn't found the first emerald yet. But now as an adult, I can section off the stage, just glide to try to get the hit on the scanner. One section is level 1 and 2. The other section is level 3, which you have to take the hanger up for. If it's not on level 3, you know it's going to be on the bottom 2 levels. And you simply just glide and get a hit on the scanner. So it's very, very simple. The timer is also, coincidentally, the max time in my sweet spot range, meaning it forces you to complete the stage in the best amount of time. I'm not gonna lie, it's like frustratingly fun, if that makes sense, when you're like behind and you spent 3 minutes on one Chaos Emerald and now you only got 2 minutes to find the other two. It's just a nice adrenaline spike, man. It's just, there's so much sense of urgency that comes from this stage. The other reason why I hated this as a kid was because some of the Chaos Emeralds were hidden behind cells that can't be unlocked. Well, they can be unlocked, but you can't just automatically dig into them and then unlock them like you can in other cells that are already lit up. Some of them you actually have to flip a switch. So when I got these as a kid, I had no idea what I was doing. I thought it was just a glitch. I was like, well, I can't get in it, so I'll just restart and die. But obviously now, as an adult, I'm like, okay, there obviously is a way to open this. So yeah, at level 3, there are switches that you can switch, and then it turns on the cell block. You can dig into it, and then you can unlock it that way. As a kid, I had no idea you could do that. That was not even a possibility, but now that I know that, I just go straight for level 3. Because I'm going to have to unlock the cell blocks anyway. And I'm going to have to go up there to track the Chaos Emerald. So you might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's the strategy that I have. And notice the key word, strategy. Like, this is the only stage where, like, in the entire game, where you need to have some sort of strategy to find the emeralds in time. Because of the timer. In every other stage, you could just haphazardly roam until you get a hit. The only thing you'd really sacrifice is your time and your sanity in some cases. I'm looking at you. Mad Space, Meteor Herd. Anyway, but in this stage, if you don't efficiently use your time, you fail. So that added challenge gives it so much more depth. Now let's talk about the music, because my god, this is one of the most underrated tracks in the entire game. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this in the Sonic community. It feels like you can hear Rouge's actions within the music, right? The xylophone feels like someone's sneaking around. And then the tempo and the trumpets is like, you gotta go, you gotta move, you gotta pick up the pace. Like, it's genius. It's so damn good. I don't know how they did it so well. It's just amazing. And it incorporates Rouge's iconic vocals in the song. So it's got fast tempo, the trumpets, the slow sections to make it feel like it's sneaky but quick at the same time. And it incorporates the vocalizations that are distinctly Rouge's. It's just a genius soundtrack. Speaking of the urgency, you also got the little PA system again in this stage where Eggman's like rushing you. He's like, yo, come on, we gotta get out of here. I thought you said you could do this. It just adds so much to the stage. Like that, those tiny details are just so nice, like icing on the cake. This is an amazing stage. I love the stage so much. It's so funny how it went from one of my most hated stages to one of my favorite stages in the game. It really does deserve the A rank, in my opinion. I'm sorry if I disappointed you with my top pick, but I gotta give it to Security Hall. I really, really, really enjoyed the stage. Thank you guys so much for watching, whoever is watching this, if anyone is watching this. I really appreciate it. Thank you for going this far. I did work really hard on this video. So I'm going to do all the YouTuber stuff yet again. You can hit the like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever it may be. That would help out a lot. that would be very much appreciated. So I don't know when I'll do the Dark and Hero stage ranked list, because I do want to do that eventually. I just don't know how much time I can really dedicate to a video that size. So I may do a few projects before I do that video and just move on and do other stuff. I know The Last of Us is out. A lot of people are giving their takes on that. Might want to share my opinion as well. Might wait till the season's out. I don't know. We'll see. All I'm saying is that there will be more videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. And I think that's it. So again, thank you very much for watching, and see you guys later.